Hi, everyone. Welcome to Matthew Antonio Perri's YouTube channel. And I am here with my good friend and colleague, Whitney Wallace, who's also one of my very first conducting students as part of my online program. Very graciously agreed to talk with me today. Whitney, welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Whitney, will you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. My name's Whitney Wallace. I am a pianist and music director, and worth saying, a mom of two little kids. So we have a lot of music going on in the house and professionally. I sub at Aladdin, which is very fitting for the children. I play piano there. I also play piano for ballet classes at the Academy on the Upper East Side and at Marymount Manhattan College. I do a little kids sing-along with my husband who plays bass. And we do that volunteer for some families with children under the age of 3. And I run a nonprofit collective of teaching musicians called In the Pocket NYC. And it's a group of musicians in the city of all different instruments and styles and experiences. But we come together because we're all passionate about teaching and performing and providing all of that for the community. So we have salons for our adult students and our colleagues, and we get together and have wine and play for each other. And we have student recitals for our younger kids. We also have student salons with juice boxes instead of wine, where the kids play for each other and mingle. We just create a lot of events for the community and for music sharing in general.
I love it. Amazing. Well, thanks for coming here and talking with me today. So I wanted to ask you about some of the changes that you have been experiencing since starting your conducting journey. Because we actually did meet several years ago, Broadway Bandstand, because you took on the illustrious job of teaching our buddy Corey Cott to play the piano.
Yes.
At some point, we were in a room together a long time ago.
Yes.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. But I think I had more hair.
It was a minute ago. And yes, I was in the room while you rehearsed with the actor musicians.
That's right. Okay. Yes. I love these connections. So Whitney, what I want to know is, because when you came to me just recently to work on conducting, you had very little conducting experience, correct?
Yes. So I kind of feel like I'm re-entering the scene here after the pandemic and my two little kids. It feels like I was in a bubble for a while, and so now I'm coming back. I am very lucky to be subbing at Aladdin, but as I'm climbing my way back in here, I'm realizing that to be a pianist in this scene, you do need conducting skills, and I don't have that, and I don't want to pretend that I do. And so when I saw your social media ads for this program, I was like, this is perfect. I think I called you my fairy god conducting mother. Like, you dropped in from nowhere and you're like, I have the answers for you. And it was perfect. And even as I said it out loud, my husband was here and he was like, oh, I've worked with him. He's really good. So it all kind of came together. But yeah, it really has been eye-opening, especially for me as a pianist now playing under conductors. Not to say that I haven't before. In fact, I grew up playing clarinet in bands and orchestras and everything. So I've been under batons for a long time. I also did a lot of Baroque playing in college. I've been in ensemble playing. But in this new post-pandemic, post-mother brain, it's new for me to be under a baton with the keys. And like you like to call it, piano player-itis. And so... So learning all of these skills and then putting them into play when I go to play and watch the conductor, I feel like I am so much more aware of so much. And I feel like I'm trying to be with the conductor so much more organically that it helps my playing so much. That's like an added bonus. I didn't realize that would connect that dot. What I keep thinking is that we all need to learn this, because it not only is the skill, obviously, communicating the music to the players and getting that job done, but I feel like it's making me more aware of how we communicate as musicians, as we're communicating together and then communicating this music to an audience. Like, it's all about communicating and respecting each other and understanding how our mechanical differences function and how we need to overcome some of those. And all of those things seem to be under the umbrella of conducting. And I'm just learning all of it and piecing it together. And it applies to so many other areas of music that it's really eye-opening.
So, it's funny that you bring that up, because when I first started, I couldn't follow a conductor to save my life. Not to save my life until I started studying conducting. And then I had a very similar experience. Once I started to become a conducting nerd, all of a sudden it was much easier for me to follow a conductor. Even if they weren't very good, I just started to gain this confidence with being able to follow. So it's funny that you bring that up, because I had a very similar kind of experience. It's actually nice to hear. So I want to hear more about, like, what do you think has changed for you?
As a player?
Or just everything. Just like, what do you think has changed for you in doing the work so far?
Okay, so this may be hard to describe, but one thing is I feel like it's bringing out a different side of me personally. I think the part of me that is so in my head as a player, it's almost stifling. Like, it's all in there, and I'm trying to absorb all the information I need, and I'm trying to execute it and put it out my fingers. And then as I'm getting into this conductor head, it's much more like I feel like the art is playing with the colors and like understanding the tools I have and how can I, bring out this idea. Now it's like up to me. Like, what do I hear? Like, we were talking about how we need to hear the music before we even move our arms, And obviously I have that mentality when I'm playing, chamber music or solo by myself. But so often, especially as an accompanist, like a dance accompanist, I should say, I'm just like stuck in my body, stuck in my brain, trying to make sure I play the right thing for the right person at the right time. And it's less about all of those other things. So as I'm finding this part of myself conducting, and obviously we are very early in this process, and I have not actually stood up on a podium in front of other people. But in practicing, I feel like I'm finding this other, like a more artistic part of myself is able to come out in this way. And so that alone is very exciting. I just feel like I'm able to look at the music and how I want to be a part of the music in a very different way. And I'm probably now able to bring that back to my piano playing. So it all comes together.
Well, I can even bring up that, you and I had a one-on-one lesson the other day. And, as a teacher, there's nothing more invigorating than when you have a session with a student who, and you and I, we were working on a piece from Sweeney Todd, which I had conducted last year. And you were making me see that music, and we were working on a piece, and you were making me see something in a way I hadn't seen it before. So no, and this is what I love about this work is, it goes both ways. So this idea that, you're seeing these different parts of yourself, these different sides of music, would you say that that's also something, I'm always curious, like, what surprises people about going into the study of conducting?
You're asking if I'm surprised by those?
I just always found that there were parts of going into the work that I had many aspects of it that were surprising to me, of the experience. So I'm always curious to hear from people, like, what's been surprising?
I guess yes, because now that I think back to what I perceived of it from more of an I'm still outside of it, but from an even further outside perspective, I thought, I can't stand up on the podium and wave my arms. Like, I just assumed I would not be able to control something. Musicians that I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. Also, I had, fooled around with trying to like beat a pattern with my right hand. I'm like, what do I do with this? I can't, this is awkward. And I'm a pianist. I should be able to coordinate things, but I was like, I can't cue, I can't cut off, I don't know what I'm doing. And now I'm just finding, you have all of these different planes that I'm not used to. So, and I'm surprised by the physical body of it. I'm surprised by my excitement of like, no, I think I can do this. Like, I can train myself to do those things, or you can train me to do those things. But I like the part of me that's coming out. And I said that to my husband, that like, I remember my mom gave me this advice when I was young, that find the people that make you the best version of yourself, that you like yourself the best around those people. Find those people that bring that out. And I'm I'm almost fine. Not that I don't want to play piano. I love piano.
Yeah.
But finding that this art form seems to be really bringing out a part of me that I've missed. And I really enjoy that. So I am surprised by that. I'm also surprised by, the coordination involved is so different from pressing the buttons. And it's so theoretical right now because I haven't actually had a chance to try it on people. So I don't even know if this movement makes anything happen. But I would say I'm surprised by all of it, but mostly I'm surprised at how elated I am coming out of your lessons. I'm giddy. I'm like, wee! And I'm a mom of 2 young children, so I'm exhausted all the time. So the fact that I'm like skipping out of these things is a big tell.
Well, do you know what? I feel the same.
Oh, good.
You know, when I'm coming out of your lessons and everyone's lessons, that's how I feel too. It's fun work. I mean, when you're imagining the future with the knowledge that you have now, how is that different? When you were imagining the outcome that you were hoping for when you started, and when you were imagining the outcome now, how is that different?
I would say it's different in that before, or when I was thinking about it, I think the idea of being in control or having the responsibility of being in control was intimidating. And now I realize that was sort of an ego perspective. And now it's not as much about that. Sure, I would be the one in charge and the one in front and all those things, but it's not about that. There's so many things to think about to get this to function that you I feel like I would lose myself in it more than be afraid of being in that position. That I'm thinking like an artist. Like I feel like there's so many different tools at my disposal now that I can play with, that it's actually more exciting than intimidating. And it used to be nothing but intimidating.
I love it. That is so great. Whitney, thank you so much for coming to talk with me and for sharing your experiences with all of us. It's just a pleasure to have you in the group class and the one-on-ones, and I just can't wait to continue all our work together. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and we look forward to sharing more nerdy conducting material with you.